Welcome to the second week of Halloween, guys, and we're still in our gateway horror. So if you don't know, gateway horror is those horrors that you watched as a kid that might have been a little bit too inappropriate for you. It ended up making you really love the genre. And so last week we did Ernest Scared Stupid, which is kind of all ages, like anyone can watch this. This week we're going a little bit. I think I said last year. This week we're going a little bit more. We're dipping a little bit more into adult territory with a 1999 movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a William pick.
The
So
William
come
pick.
so come back to us. This time we have a commercial break. I don't know if we did last time. You guys can tell us when you watch the episode and you're like, hey, there's a big pause in the middle. But yes, when we come back from this commercial break, we'll tell you what's on our docket. What did William pick? What was a
Oh my
gateway
God.
horror for William? We'll see you in
Truth.
a second. Thank you so much for joining us on the Bomb Squad. Please give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support our channel, other than that, the best way to do it right now is to watch our movies. We have the boxing documentary Humble Spirits. We have the Mexploitation thriller Borderland about missing cartel money. Those movies are both on Tubi. Also on Tubi and Screambox, you can watch the zombie drama, The Last Ones, and of course, The Empty Space, a cosmic horror about grief and loneliness. We hope you enjoy those movies. Tell us what you think if you do watch them. And of course, you can always follow my other YouTube page, which is my shorts page, to see some short films, or just join us here. Thank you so much again, and please keep supporting the channel. Coolio, guys, welcome back. And so, yes, today we're doing 1999's The Haunting, directed by Jean Debout, who I think let me just do a little quick. Oh yeah, he directed Speed 2 and Speed. And he
And
also
Twister,
did Twister, yes. This
which
is
was my
Another
first
William
appearance
fan.
on the podcast. Yeah.
This is
William's
I love
very
him. I love Mr.
Apparently.
Savant.
favorite director. Yeah.
He also directed Equilibrium, which we also covered here. So apparently we're just
Oh, I didn't know that.
a Jean Debont podcast now.
I mean, he was kind of major. He was also like a cinematographer for a bunch of stuff too.
And
So I
it
mean,
is-
he was kind of like around in our childhood.
It is funny when you see like, oh yeah, that guy directed this and this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today we're doing The Haunting. It was based on the book The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. It also went on to inspire the Netflix show, which we'll probably talk about a little bit, which was
Yeah.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
And it was directed by Jean Debont. I just like saying his name. It was written by David
Yeah.
Self. David Self, that's like the most screenwriter name ever.
I know. And it's like his first script too, I believe.
Interesting. William's gonna do our trivia today because he knows all about this
I
movie.
was reading so much about this movie.
Nice. It stars Liam Neeson. What the hell, Liam Neeson? It stars Catherine Zeta-Jones, and it stars Owen Wilson. And the very last person on the IMDb is Lily Taylor, who's actually the star of this film,
Right.
the one that we spend the most time with. So The Haunting. We could talk a little bit about the making of Steven Spielberg, and he had to talk to Stephen King about adapting The Haunting of Hill House. They kind of worked on it, but they couldn't come to terms on how like dark they wanted it to be. I think Stephen King was kind of pushing more for a rated R movie, and Spielberg wanted it to be more poltergeist, PG-13. And so
Right.
they parted ways. This actually inspired Stephen King to do the Rose Red miniseries. If anyone's seen that, I think it's on Hulu.
I have not seen it.
It's kind of similar. It is funny because this is kind of a basic story that they'll get into. But it is because it can like inspire so many things. And then
Yeah.
after Spielberg left, or after Stephen King left, Spielberg kind of left. He was like, I'm gonna do Minority Report instead.
Yeah, it seemed like he gave it to Jean Debont, who was going to do Minority Report.
They switched, yes.
And thank God, because
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, if we would have misowned Minority Report, that would have been.
I know. And it's such
know
a
what I
funny
mean?
thing because it's like Minority Report just seems like such a Spielberg movie that it's like, why? It's funny that he originally was not going to direct this film.
Right.
And so, so they switched. They were like, okay, you do The Haunting and I'll do Minority Report. And I like to think that as soon as like Spielberg turned around, he was like, yeah, tricked him.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And so there was also an earlier movie. It was Robert Weiss's 1963 film. That's the first time it's called The Haunting, because it was based on the book The Haunting of Hill House, but the movie was called The Haunting, so this is a remake. But Jean Lebon wanted to focus more on the book than the original, like kind of remaking the movie, and so that's what we have. It was a huge. I don't want to say, yeah, it was a pretty big hit when it came out.
Yeah. Like Scary Movie
It
2
made,
is like ripping off
yeah,
this movie is like the main inspiration for it.
right,
It was like
right.
that big. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's been it got bad reviews though. And it's
Yeah.
mostly kind of disappeared. So that's why we want to talk about it. But yeah, so now we can get into it. The Haunting, it's about a professor who, under the guise of an insomnia study, he's actually bringing these people to this haunted house to study fear, to see how fear works. And so it's a haunted house, but he set up a bunch of traps to make it appear, or it's a regular house, but he set up a bunch of traps to make it appear haunted. But is it, or maybe it's really
Yeah.
haunted?
He
This
like
is
sets a myth.
also
Yeah.
this is also kind of the plot of the haunting, the house on Haunted Hill, because that one,
Yeah.
which
Right.
we'll
Isn't it
eventually
Also
talk
great.
about.
Also a major
based on the
gateway horror.
same book, right? It's like they're
I
all
don't
kind
think
of
so.
coming from the
Yeah.
same book.
I don't think it's. I don't
I
think
don't
it's
know if
based on
that
the
one
same
is.
book.
See,
Yeah.
it's weird because they're all slightly different. You know, it's like it's
Yeah.
always about a haunted house that people. Think
Well,
is
see,
a
that's
haunted
what Josh was saying that before, but I don't think it's that similar because it's like the other than the haunted, like we'll get into it when we talk about the Haunting of Hill House TV show, but like other than a haunted house, they don't really have a lot. Like I think to me, the haunting, the aspect of like it's a psychology study and it's kind of a trick is like a big kind of part of it, which like that's what
Right.
separates it more so than like that's like being like, well, all Dracula movies are the same because
Well,
they have
no,
vampires.
but
It's
like
like,
House
well,
on
who
Haunted Hills,
played?
that's like an insane
the
asylum, right?
haunting of okay, because there's House on Haunted Hill is Tay Diggs, right?
Right, Jeffrey
Haunting
Rush.
of Hill House is based on the same story as this book, but isn't about a psychologist, right? It's just like a guy moves into the house, so it's like everyone does their own spin on it, right? I guess that's
Well,
my
in
point.
in the book, it's like in the book, I think they're just going to do like a study on actual paranormal events,
And it could
and there's
also.
like not like a trick, and he like brings in like 4 people to like go and
Oh,
like help him.
interesting.
And it's like it's
Kind
funny
of a
that
Ghost
he wanted to make
Hunters
this
type show.
movie, kinda, yeah. And it's funny because like the book is like because you see the haunting and you see the haunting of Hill House, the TV show, and you're like, wow, this book must be wild. And it's like you read it and it's like it's actually pretty vague. Like it's like not really like there aren't like kids popping out of walls, and it's like it's because it's funny that John DeMont wanted to make it more like the book. Like this movie could not be farther away from the book, like at all. Like it's insane.
That's
Like you
insane,
don't even like
yeah.
really know what happens at the end. You know,
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I
it's
like
very
that.
like
I like when they go
yeah,
off the
yeah.
rails like that. Yeah.
Right. Like the book is kind of short. It's like 200 pages maybe. Like it's not very long, but it's good. It's creepy, but it's like this movie is like a theme park ride. Like
Right.
in that way, it's similar to House on Haunted Hill. Like they both are
Yeah.
just like so
Kind of like big
kind of wild and
seances
goofy, you know.
stuff,
And it's kind of
Yeah.
funny because then that means that House on Haunted Hill takes a lot more from this movie than it does from the original story, or because that
Yeah.
one, it's like a theme park guy and he's trying to trick his ex-wife to murder. And I think the original is also this, like they're trying to get an inheritance, but then
he's like an
tricks
eccentric
them.
like millionaire.
Yeah.
And he's
Right.
like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
scheme. Yeah.
But they both involve fake hauntings that turn out to be real hauntings. But to add another caveat to that, the original House on Haunted Hill with the Vincent Price one, that didn't have any hauntings. It was all actually like, oh, he just faked it and he scares like the people trying to steal his
Oh,
money.
really?
I've never
Man.
seen the original. Like
And
I've
then
never seen the older film.
They maybe imply that it's real, but like for the most part, it's not.
It's
really
like a
big
wink,
factor.
not like
Yeah.
an explicit.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but it is always funny that you have the Haunting of Hill House, and then you have the House on Haunted Hill. Those are those are two different movies.
Right, right.
But yeah, so let's get into the
Haunting,
which is not.
1999.
It is still Hill House, but it's just The Haunting.
They just
Right.
yeah, it's Hill House on the side.
So one thing, okay, so a movie starts off, and I'll say like, this movie has a weird tone. Like it starts off pretty depressing. Like it's also like Virginia Madsen plays Lily Taylor, whose character's name is Nell. his sister, and it's like, why did you get Virginia Madsen to play this like one random scene role?
Yeah,
Well,
they
this
don't
is
even
very,
come back or at all.
Yeah,
one
she
point in the
doesn't-
movie. Yeah,
I think everyone in this movie was about to get insanely famous, but was in that like middle ground, like at the time.
that's a
so-
major thing that's interesting
See,
about this movie for
but-
sure.
Yeah,
But Virginia Madsen, I mean, at this point, she had already starred in Candyman. Like, she's already there.
Right.
She's
but
already
she
the
hadn't
star
started
of
in
the show.
Sideways yet. Her seminal.
Yeah, so she hadn't lost it, but
Mhm.
she was at the top of her game at this point.
This is
And
a
so-
pro Sideways podcast.
And they're like, she has insomnia and she cared for her mom for 11 years. And then, like, the sister is like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to sell your house. And she's like, but where am I going to go? And they're like, well, you know what? We need a maid.
I know,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's kind of
so
like implied that
bleak.
she's like sort of like not able to like get a job. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like she's like not, she can't hack it in the real
Yeah.
world. It's kind of implied. They don't really ever say why.
Yeah, I
But
think it's
that's
just
kind of
because
there.
yeah, because she's gonna be homeless. I think it's more so that she's been taking care of the mom for so long that she like missed out on like those kind of like learning how to have a real skill or something, you know. And you
Right.
can't
Right.
Having a
you
resume.
can't really like go from being a caretaker of your relative to being like a nurse because even though you have a lot of those skills, I mean they need certifications and stuff.
And
Right.
They,
It's kind of undocumented
But
a little
also-
bit.
they make it
Yeah,
clear too.
if my
that,
brother
like,
was like, "Hey, I know you're going through a hard time and you just lost your house. Do you want to be a maid for my family?" I'd be like, "Yeah, but I mean, I am gonna murder everyone with an axe by like Friday."
Right.
Like, are you?
Yeah,
it's not- it's-
What's
li-
what's your act policy?
literally like they like cut her out of the will in some like technically legal way, and it's like
yeah,
the husband and son are like just total trash. It's just
Right.
like
they're
the
horrible
worst family, you
people.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just instantly this terrible. But as soon as they leave, she sees a newspaper ad which is like, oh, this will solve all my problems.
I'll get away for
$900 a
couple
week
days.
in 1999 is crazy. $900 a week is crazy now. You know,
yeah.
like this is crazy money to take a sleep study. So of course she jumps
Right.
at the chance.
Right. And then, like, it's so funny because they cut to Liam Neeson. He plays the professor who's doing the study, and I think they talk on the phone. But then they cut to him, and he's like kind of saying it, and he's like saying that, and it's a very funny thing. So he's setting up. He's telling them that it's an insomnia test, but it's really a test to see how fear helps humans. Because he's like, humans have been around for so long, we shouldn't fear anything. So
Right.
I want to find out why fear is good. Like, why do we need it?
Yeah.
and
Why do we have
then-
sweaty palms when you're talking to your boss? It doesn't help
Yeah.
you anymore. Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, but why don't you just tell them it's a fear study? And he's like, you don't tell the rats they're in a maze, which is a really cool line, but also like you shouldn't use that line if you're trying to make your doctor seem a little bit ethical and maybe not
Right.
scumbag.
I also love too. You don't see it till like later, but his study is so obviously fake because it's like, oh hey, we're studying insomniacs. Like, are you gonna hook me up to anything when I go to sleep? He's like, no, just tell me about it the next day. It's like, just tell
You
me
want
if
to rub
you're
the hall, just
tired.
make sure I can hear it so I can document it.
Here's what I don't understand. You know, why didn't he still do the study? Like, he could have found an insomnia scientist. He's bringing
Yeah.
people anyway. He could have found an
Right.
insomnia scientist and be like, oh, well, while we're doing this fear thing, we can still do the insomnia thing because, like, it's not really going to affect
Right.
it, you know?
Yeah, it's
like
like,
the stress
how would you
involved in
measure
insomnia
how
too.
someone sleeps just from like they wouldn't remember
Yeah,
when they
just
fell
from
asleep,
talking to
you
them?
know?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
I think that the only thing that makes it like even quasi believable and like how we can stomach it is just that Liam Neeson is like so trustworthy, like just as an
Yeah.
individual,
he's
that
got those
like
kind
even though
eyes.
he's lying to me about a sleep study, I'm like, I bet you had some good intentions though.
Yeah,
like
this
you seem
sounds-
chill.
This sounds good, and you definitely sound like you have an American accent.
Yeah.
That's how I would talk to Liam Neeson. So then and I think this is the first misstep of the movie. So we get there, and Nell gets to the house, and then that's where she's like gets to the gate, and she talks to Bruce Dern is in this movie.
Yeah.
Josh is
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
like Bruce Dern was about to become famous.
He was. He was.
You
at
know
the
those-
height of his-
Those
Playing
little known
Gary
names
Busey.
in the '90s, like Bruce Dern, Liam Neeson.
Hey, Liam
They're on their way
Neeson
up,
was
man.
only Darkman at that point. All right.
Liam Neeson was Rob Roy at that point, buddy. And I also think 1999,
It's
Liam
Qui-Gon
Neeson had
Jinn
been
here.
Schindler for quite a long time.
Oh wait, and he also been Qui-Gon Jinn in the Phantom Menace.
Well, he was becoming. I think
Oh,
this
that
movie
was, like,
came out
filmed
like
that
I think it was the same year.
Yeah.
Right?
it's
99?
not only the same year, but it's a few months. I think Phantom Menace was still in theaters while this movie came out because it was in theaters for quite a bit.
But he hadn't yet become Brian Mills.
Yes.
Who we all know, Brian Mills.
And so he goes to the. I'm just gonna ignore Josh going off tangents. Brian Mills is from Taken.
Right.
So she goes to the door and she's like, "Hey," and then like Bruce Stern is like, "What do you want? Don't come to the house." And she's like, "I'm here for the study." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I know about the study." It's like, then why did you answer the door that way?
Right.
But the first misstep I think is that we spend so much time with Nell at this point. Like we've spent almost the entire runtime with Nell,
Yeah.
other than one short scene where Liam Neeson talked badly about the people he's about to torture. And so it's like, well, I wonder if Nell's gonna make it to the end. It's like, oh, I know she is because we've literally wasted like 30 minutes on her so
She's
far.
the only character that matters.
Exactly.
Right.
And so then she runs into the next two guests, and the first one she runs into is
No,
Theo.
First, she runs into the borderline
Mrs. something.
parody
Oh, yes.
caretaker.
Oh
who,
my god,
like,
yes. I love her
Yeah.
instructions on
It's like the cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
Like creepy
Yeah,
guy who
it
they
so is,
see
dude.
who's like,
Yeah.
no one will help you after dark.
Oh, that's right. And she
I
tells them
leave
both.
after
in the
dark.
night.
Yes.
No one can hear you.
No
They
one
won't
can
come.
hear you. Yeah. And then like
She's like,
The
I was just
funniest-
asking where the bathroom was. You didn't.
The funniest
Miles
part
from
of
here
that
is where I will be.
the funniest part about that is that then Catherine Zeta-Jones comes in playing Theo, and she starts the speech again. She's like,
Yeah.
"If
Yes.
you're here," and it's like, "Are you animated? Like, what is this?"
That was the best part of the movie. That was
yeah.
10 out of 10. I love that
Yeah,
lady's
it's-
performance so much.
It's a
She
very
also-
good.
Yeah.
She has this weird line where when she very first, like just before she launches into the speech, Lily Taylor's like, "Are you Mrs. Dudley?" And she says, "So far."
So far.
It's like, what?
It's also
Yeah.
like you guys agreed to let us rent this house. Why are you being so? This is like,
Right. Why are you being so cagey, dude?
yeah. Although to be
You could've
fair,
said no.
now that Airbnb is a thing, you do have those owners who are like, "Hey,
That's
try not to
true.
touch anything in the house." It's like that's
Right,
gonna be pretty
right.
hard, guys. Like,
Lily Taylor's
Yeah.
getting the $800 cleaning fee.
yeah.
at the
This was,
end of
this was
movie.
Airbnb
Per week,
before, yeah.
Goes
And
back
so
to the
the-
house.
That's where we meet Theo, who's she's Catherine Zeta-Jones, and here's the other. Well, I guess it doesn't because it's a college study, and maybe this is my fault but like Catherine Zeta-Jones in this movie is not young. Neither is Lily Taylor. They're not old.
Are they supposed to be in college?
I don't know.
They
They're
they
like
seem like they're
older.
supposed to be like kind of mid-20s ish.
Yeah, but they-
don't come across
Right.
like college
Lily Taylor
kids.
looks like she could be 50 or 25.
Yes. Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones looks like she's 30.
And
Catherine
they're-
Owen
Zeta-Jones
Wilson's like
is a
27.
very worldly bisexual. Like she's clearly not a college
Yeah.
student.
Yeah. Her
She
first
is-
her
She's the
first
most
line
late
is
90s
like
lady ever.
her first line
Yeah.
is like, "Oh, I've had boyfriends and girlfriends," and it's like that's the most like '90s. She's supposed to be hip and cool line
I know.
ever.
Yeah. Pretty
But
much
I
Hard when
think
dealing with the
every
party, you
line.
know what I mean?
I think the big thing that makes these guys all look older than they are, because Owen Wilson comes out in a second, but he also looks older. It's that they're all dressed like school teachers. Like Lily Taylor is, of course, dressed very modest. Like she wears
Yeah.
long dresses, but even Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's supposed to be like the carefree person, is never like she's always wearing long sleeve shirts. It's
Yeah,
like,
she's like very robe
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
it's like, why are you? And she's always wearing a jacket. It's like you weren't hot in this. Like, not that I want her to be like naked or anything, but it's just weird for her like character to be so carefree and stuff, and she's
Right.
always dressed so conservatively.
They're all
you
kind
know?
yeah.
She's so about being like so open and carefree and wild that like you'd think that her wardrobe might reflect it a little bit more.
Yeah, like she's
Yeah.
like she's sleeping in like old 1940s style pajamas, and it's like okay, I
Yeah.
guess.
And I think
And-
it's like they're trying to like kind of go like I think that's what's so weird about the tone of this movie is that like, it's hard. They're not like really trying to be House on Haunted Hill where it's like edgy late 90s kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's kind of comedy. It's kind of action adventure. It's also kind of trying to be like classic horror. And it's kind of like I feel like this like wardrobe with Catherine Zeta-Jones is kind of like a 1950s as kind of like wardrobe. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like these like throwback to this classic film kind of like vibe. I think kind of like throw the movie off a little bit. In
Yeah,
like especially
Yeah,
it's like
stuff
a
like
I
this.
do think it's trying
hodgepodge.
to, and it's kind of funny because, and I don't know why we're going to keep comparing these, but House on Haunted Hill was
It's a
released
good
by
comparison
Dark
here.
Castle, which was like that was a specific production company made by the Castle William Castle Estate, who was a famous 1950s director, to remake his movies. So they made that one. They made 13 Ghosts. They made House of Wax again, the remakes, and but like if you
Great
watch, and
logo.
we'll eventually talk about the House on Haunted Hill, but if you watch that movie, they're all it's like very slick, it's very gory, it's very like 90s
Yeah.
horror. And
Yeah.
this is very like it's almost like this is the one that's paying way more respect to its source material, even though
Yeah.
it's like just the regular remake. It's like not made by any of the direct or the creators, you know. Where
Right.
like William Castle's family was like, make it as gross as possible. We don't care.
Yeah. We want buckets of goo. We want it all
Yeah.
over the place. Yeah.
And then this is another thing. So then he meets Owen Wilson, who's playing Luke Sanderson, which is a very like horror movie name.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and I remember when I saw it because I saw this movie in theaters, and I remember when I watched it, I was like, I really like that guy, the funny
Yeah.
guy, you know. But
Hmm.
he goes right away, like he spoiler alerts, but I was like, he dies right away. And rewatching this movie, he does not. He stays in the whole movie. It's just that like after the first 10 minutes, him and Catherine Zeta-Jones just disappear from
They
most
are,
of the
Dude,
plot.
yeah.
I know.
Like,
I know. This movie
Let's-
races through its plot, but somehow it's still 2 hours long.
That's
Yeah.
like the way, because you almost expect, just if you watched a lot of like horror movies, that they're gonna have like 8 people in the study, and like one will leave right away, 2 will die right away, in like a way that
Right.
no one sees, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
But no, there are 3 people in this study. Liam Neeson has an assistant who gets hurt
Right.
right away and leaves in her first scene, and then like the
Yeah.
first study.
And one more
Yeah.
little cameo. Todd Field is in it for like 2
Oh,
seconds.
he's like the one who
He's
drives
also in
her
Twister as well.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that because like the very first night is when Liam Neeson kind of tells them the history of the house, that its original owner was like this super rich guy, and they couldn't have a baby. Like all their babies were stillborn, and then the wife killed herself, and Crane like stayed in the house and like kind of did it. And like then the assistant is like looking through the piano, and like the piano plucks one of the wires and it slaps
hits
her
her in the
across
eye.
face.
Yeah. It starts winding up on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's our first thing. Oh, here's another. Okay. This is watching it again, this is my main problem with this movie. So before they go to that, they're walking through the house and they're like, "Wow, this house is amazing." And like the production design for the house is amazing. Like
Oh, it's crazy.
whatever
It's so
they did,
expensive looking. Yeah.
everything, like there's big statues that'll eventually come into play. It's very gothic. It looks like the Crimson
Yeah.
Peak house. Like there's
Absolutely,
like big
yeah.
rolling, like every room has a
There's
giant
like the fireplace is
yeah.
a walk-in
Mhm.
fireplace with
And then-
like a swinging like pendulum. It's like a
Lion
Resident
face.
Evil.
there's
like,
there's a
map.
very funny scene where Owen Wilson's like, "Man, I really got screwed on the rooms. Everyone's room is like 10 times as big as mine."
Yeah. Where are
But-
your quarters?
The whole movie, or most of the movie, is shot in mediums and wide, so it's like we don't really get a sense of how big that house is for like up until almost halfway through the movie when they start using wides. And it's
Yeah.
like you did all this production design, it looks so cool, but you've put us so that we're only seeing the character and a little bit of the sides. And then like
Mhm.
Nell will be like, "This is the most beautiful house," but we're only seeing like this much of it. It's like you guys should have
Right.
put this in wide. We needed that big grand, like that would have been where Spielberg would have come in handy, because he
I
would have done
agree,
like the
yeah.
Jurassic Park. Look at how amazing this house
Right.
is.
It's like the pieces were there. There's even I don't know if you guys caught this, because it's like weird, because it's like this movie doesn't have a lot of stylistic like flourishes in the directing, but that night when his assistant has to leave and Liam Neeson's like, "I guess I'm on my own," it does one of those shots of him like talking into his like tape recorder, talking about like, "Oh,
Yeah.
the first night of the
Going
study,
over
I'll
the
have to
day.
like go on." And it's this like crazy like split diopter where like one side's him and one side's just kind of his desk, and I'm like, oh, why didn't you do
Oh,
more of
that's
this?
super. It's like super. It's like he's like way in the foreground.
He's like way in the foreground, but it's just like kind of his
it's a
desk
very like
behind him. And
1950s kind of shot.
I was like, you set this up to look so cool, and like, there's no other like shots like that in the movie. So it's almost like, why are you like randomly putting in cool stuff, but just not taking it all the way? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a weird thing. Really
Yeah.
And I think
shot,
too,
though.
like also like with the wides that we were talking about earlier, and like not getting the grandiosity of the house. I think sometimes too, like what kind of hurts that is like in so like even like in the bedrooms, like there's like almost too much to like
I
see
think so
that it
too.
kind of
Yeah.
feels like
over
it feels
designed.
claustrophobic, even if it
Yeah.
is grand, because like there's a bed and there's 18 portraits and there's 1 million faces popping out of the walls, which
Yeah.
are creepy, but it's kind of like I
And
feel like in the living room too, like it just feels like there's like so much furniture, there's so many statues that it's like,
And when we
is
say
there any room to
bed,
breathe?
we don't mean like a bed. We mean like the bed has like the four like big posts on the side, and it has a huge
Yeah.
headboard. And also like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
in the garden, which should just be a garden, there's like a giant man statue that's just in the pond that they have inside the garden, that's inside the house. It has 2
Right.
floors of it, and it's like, okay, guys.
It's
like-
insane.
I know
It's
he
like
was a recluse,
Elden Ring
but
or Dark Souls or something.
yeah,
It's like when you walk into an antique store and you don't know where to look. It's just
Right.
everything is everywhere.
It's-
Right, yeah.
It's like the difference between the Batmaner in like the Christopher Nolan films and the Batmaner in the Batman Lego film, where it's like, okay, one of these looks very like grand and like realistic, and one of these looks like a cartoon.
Right.
So then the assistant hurts herself, and they're like, well, time to go. Here's the main story. And then that's when we start seeing, I think Nell was the first one who's really starting to see things, and she sees ghosts of the children, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
there's
we
like
should-
carvings of kids that like their faces
Oh,
change direction.
Yeah, there are
which is like the
children's
first creepy part.
faces and statues everywhere because they're like, it's like the guy, like that's the backstory.
Here's
you know?
also, okay, so she starts hearing voices, and like this is where there's like a part where there's like someone banging on the walls or the door, and they don't know. It's like she hears it, and then she goes to Catherine Zeta-Jones, and they both hear it, and it's banging, and that's one of the famous scenes from the original. Like the banging was the big selling point.
Yeah.
But to establish this scene, it shows that Nell is lying on the bed, and like she's lying on the bed. It's zoom. It's close. It's like a push into her like face. But to do that, they push into the bed, and as we get closer, her feet just like fill up more and more of the screen.
Oh
And
yeah.
her
Didn't even
feet are
notice that.
like that much by the end of it, and I was like, it's like this is her feet and this is her head, and I was like, did Quentin Tarantino direct this? Why
Right,
are her
yeah.
feet? And it's like it's a long push in, so it's like 30 seconds just focused on her feet, and I was like,
Right.
Depont, what are you doing? And
It's like, what's up here? Yeah.
he was like, I couldn't put any feet in twisters, so I have to make up for it now.
There were no beds,
Yeah.
only cars.
Also, another thing is like, and it's 1999, so you kind of have to forgive it, but they use a lot of CGI, and it's kind of that
Yeah,
1999
constantly.
CGI, like
it
that
works
Mortal
sometimes,
Kombat.
though.
It
you know?
works better when the statues, but like
sheets.
when you see the people, it's also like sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not scared of this because that's clearly CGI, you know. Even when I saw it the
Right,
first
right.
time in theaters, I was like, okay, well that's it's
Yeah.
CGI. Oh, and
They
then
kind
so
of look like the angels from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Whenever like the ghosts are like
Yeah.
when they're in the sheets, it looks kind of like the Mummy, which is kind of like fun.
That's
Yeah,
But then like
I
whenever
like
like
when
whenever they
he-
leave the
he, like-
sheets, they look just
he,
like the angels.
floats down the
Or
curtain
demons.
onto the bed. I was like, that's
Yeah.
a cool idea that he's like
I like- yeah, I thought
swimming
that was
from
cool.
like
Yeah.
one sheet to the next. You know,
Yeah.
that was neat. Yeah.
And then
But those are like
as-
so nostalgic. That's like what I liked as a kid. That's when I was like,
oh.
oh yeah, like
Yeah,
this like
this is
CGI
cool.
was becoming cool, and you're like, oh my god, this is my first ghost
It's-
story. Like this is
We
crazy.
covered the Frighteners, and it's like in that movie, there's like a part where the creature is like going through the walls, and he's like picking up the wallpaper and stuff,
Mhm.
and it looks really cool. And then he comes out, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. Like immediately, you're like, okay, it didn't work all the way.
Get back in there,
now-
yeah.
So then they all meet together, and they're like, oh, that wasn't any noise. It's an old house, of course. Like that's the noise
Yeah,
that
the
you were
pipes.
hearing.
It's always the pipes.
But then they find a portrait of the caretaker, the one who died, the recluse, and it's vandalized with the words "Welcome home, Eleanor" in blood.
yeah,
And then Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson are like, are you sure you didn't do this? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, hey,
I
oh,
think
go ahead.
well, I think that they go back to bed first before they see that,
Oh, that's
and then
right.
she sees another ghost. But it's like she straight up sees the ghost and looks at it, and its face is popping out of the pillow, and it says, "Help us, Eleanor." And she looks at the
Right.
ghost and then just goes back to sleep. She's like,
And
"I'll help you, dude. Don't worry." And then she just
Yeah.
snoozes. Like she's like immediately like
because
not afraid of the ghosts.
there's also a part where like she's walking through the house. And I think this is right before she finds the sign. She's walking through the house. She goes into the fireplace, and
Yeah.
a skeleton like pops out of the dirt or the ashes and just like shows them up to him. And then she just keeps walking. She was like,
Well, I think that
"Whoa,
that's later on. That's later on. That's like
yeah,
way after she finds the
They,
book.
they do kind
yeah."
of like, and they actually there
Oh,
is
that's
like
later
kind
on.
of
Okay, okay. It's
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
so
but
much of this movie where they're just walking around hallways that it does get a little
Right.
bit confusing.
Well,
it,
because she
yeah,
does
yeah,
look in the ashes first, but then she just sees sticks, and then she's
Yeah.
like, "I
right.
don't care about this
It's like a
fireplace."
slow build, but she clearly like, and the movie like explicitly states it later. But you do even get the sense, like even before she starts saying that her life was like so bad that even being in
Yeah.
this haunted house is like, oh, this could
Way
be like
sicker.
an interesting like
Yeah.
change of pace. You know, this could be like what I'm
Right.
supposed to do in my life. So
Well, and
you know, she
there's
accepts
also
it in stride pretty quickly.
yeah, there's a part
Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh man, we got to get out of here. This isn't right." And then she's like, "Home is where the heart is." And it's like, "How are you already like this far sold by the house?"
Right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, so then they don't really believe her, and then she's like, "Well, I'm gonna prove it," you know. And she finds out some secrets. That's where she finds the book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the painting. Also, can we talk about the painting? Like the
Yes.
painting of Hugh
Oh,
Crane
the
itself,
most
because
evil painting of all
he looks
time.
like a lion. Like
And well,
it's like the greatest
yes,
cartoon
we
painting
will
of a man I've ever
eventually.
seen.
Here's the thing about the caretaker or the guy in this movie, like the main ghost. His name's
Yeah,
Crane, right?
he's a millionaire textile factory
Yeah.
owner who built this mansion and couldn't have kids,
And here's the
or
thing
his wife
about
couldn't have
him.
kids.
He looks like Bluto from the Mickey Mouse cartoons, like
Yeah.
in real life. Like, and sometimes not even like I was gonna say he looks like Bluto if he was a person, but especially near the end, sometimes it just looks like Bluto. Like he doesn't even look
Right.
like a human. He looks like a big
Yeah.
dog mouse person, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, is that really? Because like, and then the portrait, and maybe I'll put a picture of it, but the portrait is like it's completely
Please do.
black background. He
Yeah.
has like a hell glow around him,
And he's like
And a
glowering.
cane.
He's
Yeah,
like,
he's
like-
and it's like, okay, you paid for this, dude, because like that's
Right,
not
and
a
you put
good.
it up? Did you see it?
he looks.
You see the painting?
He
He's
kind of
like, I
looks
like
like the
it.
concept art for like what are the Arkham Asylum like Batman goons.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's the bat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, he kind of has that like.
It's a very like
proportionality,
this
you
is
know?
what
It's like
you
the Page
did.
Master.
Yeah.
The Jekyll and Hyde
yeah,
from the
and-
Page Master.
Later and I think that ends up being kind of a point of contention because he looks so cartoonishly evil that sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I got it.
It's almost like
Right.
it's
don't
weird
even
that he's
question it.
buff when
Yeah.
if anything, like if you're gonna have like here is this like sinister ghost, him being like super skinny and old and frail would have been way more menacing to me because he's a ghost. He doesn't need to be
Yeah.
like buff.
Yeah, you don't need,
It's
your
just-
muscles
Right.
don't matter in the
Yeah.
action. Ghosts are notoriously
exactly.
weak. Yeah.
But yeah, so then she finds a book, and the book tells her a little bit more. It's in she has like a hidden study. Every room in this house has like a secret room, pretty much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just to add more stuff to it.
They
So
all
she
have like the
finds-
puzzle to unlock a wall or something.
Yeah.
There's
It's
some-
also
it's very
funny
video
'cause-
gamey.
She
Yeah.
like finds this secret room, and then she walks in, and it's like a secret library, and it's like, what a loser, bro! You have a secret room, and it's just more books.
Right.
Like, put something cool in there, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're an
So I
evil.
put my
You're an
ledger.
evil ghost. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just all like how to be a ghost for dummies. He's just embarrassed. He doesn't want anyone to see his like.
Right, he hides
for
the book, but he
dummies
keeps the skeleton in
collections.
the fireplace in the living room.
I
It's
know,
like, this
he's-
is what-
He's ashamed of the books, but he's okay with the skeletons everywhere.
yeah. No one will look in
Um,
this huge fireplace. It's fine.
And so that's when you find out that like he only used kids in his mills. And it's kind of like it is
Right.
kind of a nice touch to go back to like at the beginning of the industrial age, there was a lot of kids being used, especially in those
Yeah.
kind of places like industry, like the things where you had to be kind of small to fit in. They would use children for that, and then like a bunch of them died. He also they were like they're like if that wasn't bad enough, he also killed the orphans. It's like I don't know, man. Those are both bad things.
Yeah,
Right.
it's weird because they almost do the Freddy Krueger thing where they're like, oh, he like abducted children from his workers, and they just died vaguely. Don't worry about it. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
that's
one
what I
of
was
those
gonna
that are
say
like,
too. It's like,
It
what
it's
is-
the hell did
almost
he
too
do?
dark to really fully
Right.
explore. You know,
Because he wanted
Yeah.
kids, and his wife couldn't have kids; they were all stillborn, and so then he like he could have just adopted the kids from his mills, but it's like it never like tells like why he like killed them. Like,
but it's kind
did
of
he,
like
did
I
he
think
want
it's
to
like
kill them all the time?
he is abducting them to kill them. Like I said, they keep it vague
Right,
because the
yeah.
implications are so bad. But
Yeah, I especially
Yeah.
like I don't think in a movie with Owen Wilson making yucks do we want to hear like, oh, and then he was just murdering the shit out of these kids. Here's how he
Right?
did
No,
it.
no.
But I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that
This
like
is like a
he's
very this could almost like a Disney ride of a movie.
Yeah.
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 It's
very
not going. It's not trying to challenge your
But
morality.
the actual implications
Right.
of like this crazy billionaire who keeps abducting kids and then he does nothing but build like hundreds of child statues in this house is like
and
it's insane, you know.
it's
Yeah.
also weird because it's like, okay, wait, he killed kids, but then you already established that he had a lot of stillborns. Was that not related to the kids being murdered?
I
or
almost
was
wonder if that was the
Right,
cover
affecting
yeah.
story.
them?
Like I like to me I was kinda like, oh maybe that's not even
Yeah.
true. That's just
It's-
his cover for why
it's-
he's like taking
it-
kids.
You just killed them when they were born.
It's bordering on Space Godzilla thing where Space Godzilla gives Space Godzilla like 3 different origins because they forgot that they had already established what his origin is. So they're like, oh yeah, he had a bunch of stillborns. He had so many that they almost haunted the house.
Yeah.
Also, he killed kids on the side. Those also might be the
Right.
case. We don't really
It's
know.
like-
You want to know how I got
Um,
these scars?
In a
And-
way,
Yeah.
it's like if you tried
the
to do
Joker.
like the 5 different Freddy Krueger origins, like
Yeah.
all together. You're just like they're all kind of true.
They
Don't
do.
worry about it. You know?
They do the thing that I see a lot in PG-13 horror more than regular horror, where she's like, "Oh wow, these kids' spirits must be trapped in the house and giving him a family that he always wanted." And it's like, wow, you really hit that right on the head on your first guess. You didn't even really need a second guess. It couldn't have been just that he wanted to kill people. It's that like you really got it. That's great.
Yeah.
And then this is another funny thing to make it even more convoluted, because then we find out that he got remarried to
Right.
a girl
and she
who's
somehow just
related.
knows.
Yeah.
She just like she just mentions Carolyn out of nowhere, and you're like, who
Yeah.
the hell is Carolyn? And she's like, his second wife, obviously Carolyn. It's like,
I-
what?
and
Yeah,
Where's,
she's
where's
like-
that book?
I feel like
She's
she's,
like,
getting
I'm-
visions or something, you know, because
I
they
think the
really
ghosts are
gloss
like
over
telling
it.
her,
Yeah, like she's like
Yeah.
learning from them, but they kind of keep it in the background. Yeah,
And she's like, oh, I'm descended from him. And like at this point, if I was Liam Neeson, I'd be like, I don't know, dude. I'm starting to kind of let's go back to that painting. Are you sure you didn't do it? Like it sounds like
Right.
you
I'm
did.
so sorry for bringing you here. Like this is actually really bad.
this is
And then
also this is a weird conceit though because it's not like was the ghost trying to get her there, or is it just truly a coincidence that like the great great granddaughter of this like lady?
Oh well,
is
we'll
part-
get
I think-
get to that.
yeah,
we'll get to
yeah.
that in a second because it is revealed what it is.
But I do like
but-
how Carolyn reveals where she is resting in the home with the flip book.
Oh,
these
that's
flip book
right.
images.
Yeah, that is a cool
Because
scene.
that's
I
how
do
she
like that.
finds out that he got remarried. She
Yeah.
finds like a photo album, and then it's like pictures of Hugh Crane and pictures of this woman who you think is Renee, the first wife that they talk about the entire movie. You have no reason not to think it's someone named
Right.
Carolyn, and then you find out that it's actually Carolyn somehow, and then it's like pictures of the couple, then it's just pictures of Hugh Crane, then it's just pictures of Carolyn by the fireplace, and then slowly she just flip books through it, and for some reason they
Oh,
made a
yeah.
flip book image of Carolyn pointing to the
Yeah.
fireplace. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Again, very
It almost
Resident
like-
Evil. You found
it's
it. You
almost-
find the note. Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
funny because the remake of it kind of does that in a better way where it's like it takes over the thing and it starts going And so
Yeah.
that makes more sense why it suddenly becomes a flip book for no reason. But this one, it's like,
Oh, for sure,
did
for
she
sure.
make the flip book or what
Yeah.
happened?
Are the ghosts
And
doing this? Like, why didn't she
eh,
just take a picture of her pointing at the? She doesn't even need it to be
yeah,
motion. She can just be
right,
pointing at it.
right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And then at the same time, Liam Neeson, and I don't know if you guys know this, but he's a college professor. And if you didn't know he was a college professor, you're gonna find out now because he has what every college professor in a movie has: a tape recorder to take his notes. And he's like, what the hell's going on? Are they even going to sleep? I don't know. I haven't been checking at all.
Yeah.
And then he's in the garden, which again, let us reestablish. This is a huge garden with no plants, but it does
Yeah.
have a giant spiral staircase, a giant pond that has a like Atlas style man who's like this.
And
It's
he's
like a
tortured.
huge
He's so
statue
sad.
who's
Yeah.
at least 6 feet, 7 feet tall. And
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is just taking notes, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I probably should have checked this house out before I brought a bunch of people here, but whatever. I should be in
What are you gonna
Darkman 2
do?
by now." And then he starts getting drowned. Someone drags him into the water, and they're like drowning him. He's like fighting it off, and then he like gets out, and he looks at the statue, and the statue's just like that, which is a very funny reaction. Like they should have changed his pose or something to make it look like he should have been like this now, or something.
Right, at least
But it's
Right,
like,
some
right.
sort
why
of
did you
shift.
cut to him?
Yeah.
But here's another thing, and this is another issue with the movie. Is that okay? So I established earlier, in when she finds the book, she also finds a skeleton in the house, and then she just kind of leaves, and that's when we cut to Liam Neeson. And then Liam Neeson almost gets drowned, and he's like, "Oh," and then he just kind of walks
Yes.
out. Like nobody is ever, they
No
don't
one's
ever
freaked
act
out.
that scared. And it's
Yeah,
like
they're
at this
cool with
point,
it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
also, the statue that tries to drown Liam Neeson starts spewing blood out of its mouth.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
Liam Neeson is covered in blood after he's drowned, or almost drowned. And he
Yeah.
just like,
And in this point, he's not like, oh, he's like, oh, by the way, here's our, here's the point of this is that I was gonna do this, like I tricked you guys into being in this study because we're gonna leave, and then Owen Wilson's like, oh man, we gotta go, and it's like you guys should be way more freaked out than this. Like you guys are very
yeah.
like, what's
It's also
going
this
So
is
on?
kind of when
nonchalant.
Owen Wilson
Yeah.
and Catherine Zeta just come back to be like,
Yeah, this is when
oh,
they
we're in the movie
reinterpret it.
still, by the
Yeah.
way. Let's get out of here.
All they
You're
do
like,
in this
oh,
movie is
that's
they
right.
search for Eleanor. They're always just
Yeah.
searching for Eleanor, who's off
Yeah.
running around
Yeah.
giggling with ghost children.
Yeah, and
That's like the
Eleanor's
whole
like,
movie
I
for
have
like an
I have
hour.
to free the children. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're just gonna go hang out again, which is good because it's like I feel like they're the ones. They should do a side movie where it's just them being like, oh, I think both of these people are insane. Like,
Yeah.
the doctor hasn't checked my sleep one time,
Too,
and
yeah.
Eleanor
I've been
is talking
filling
about
out so
children
many
or
nightly
something.
studies, and he's
Yeah.
just not even looking at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they like try to leave, but the gate's locked. Then they try to ram the gate. It doesn't work with a car.
I actually find that this fight, because Owen Wilson tries to ram it with the car, and he does make an opening large enough that you could just duck under it and like just try
Yeah.
to get out of there.
And none of them are like, hey, should we just climb the fence? It's not that high. Like I climb fences higher than that. But nobody has thought
Yeah.
of that yet. Don't worry.
Right.
Don't worry. They'll
and there's
never
definitely a
think of
ladder
it.
on this property somewhere. Like
Yeah,
they could
there would
leave.
have
They
to
could
be,
easily get
yeah.
out of here.
You can literally just get on the car that you just crashed and then easily jump over the very small fence. I mean, it's not
Right.
like tiny, but it's 6 feet. It's not that bad. But anyway,
Yeah.
they're like, we're trapped here.
Yeah.
So have we already seen like has the ghost already taken over her bedroom yet, or is that coming?
I
up
think
still?
that's right here.
That's
That's
right,
what.
yeah.
That's what
Okay,
kind of
okay.
wakes
Because
them all up.
this is
Yeah.
the funny part,
Yeah.
because this is when they know, they're like, actually no, they're still not totally convinced it's haunted. They're like, let's just let Eleanor go in a different room and go to sleep while we all talk about her, even though we're like
Yeah.
severely worried about her.
Right.
And that's when the ghost goes like crazy, like throwing stuff at her to try to like pin her to the bed.
Yeah, and they're like, wow. And then
They're like,
that's
oh,
when
I guess
yeah.
it is real. I guess
And
this
it's like
is
one of my
the
favorite
haunting.
lines is
Which-
like, so like this ghost like takes over her whole bedroom and like these eyes appear on the ceiling and they're
Yes,
obviously
let's
staring
talk
at her
about
and
this.
she goes, the house is looking for me. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think it found you. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, and
the
that's-
room is looking at
the
you. I
mad
don't know what
eyes.
more
Yeah,
I
that's a
can
cool
do.
scene though.
I really like it because
Yeah,
of two
yeah.
things. It has one of the best effects where there's like the children that have been carved into the headboard of the bed. and then they look
Yeah.
at Eleanor, and that's like one of the coolest. Like that scene, the CGI works perfect. It works really well. It
I
looks really
agree.
good.
Yeah.
But
It's like
then
so
again,
memorable too. I remember that from being a kid.
the eyes look like like a Disney cartoon villain's eyes, and
Yeah.
it's very cool, but also like I put this in my letterbox review, but I was saying like even at this point, I would be like, man, this house is fucking cool. Like sometimes it turns into
Yeah.
eyes, like it's kind of scary, but they don't really do anything to you, so it's fine.
Maybe that's why no one's scared in the movie. Like none of the characters are that worried because it's like this is
Yeah,
kind of fun. I don't
It's
know.
it's a lot
yeah,
of near
It's
misses
like
though,
ridiculous.
which is again in a more conventional horror movie, at least four other people would be there to die easily. But in this one, it's just
Right.
mostly well, that was crazy. I almost got hurt,
Yeah.
and then they just kind
yeah,
of like
like
go on with their
wow,
day.
yeah,
But that would be enough to unsettle you, you know.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
for sure. And then
I
another
don't
line that she
know.
says too, whenever like all the kids are like running away from Hugh Crane's ghost, she's like, "I'm not gonna let you hurt any children." And it's like, bro,
You're
they're
about
ghosts.
you're about
I don't
60
know if
years
you
too
know how they
late
got
for
to be
that.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Sorry,
know how
Eleanor.
ghosts are made,
Yeah.
but they've explained it to you twice now.
Yeah, it's not fun. They're trapped
If,
souls.
if they've given you two different reasons for why there's ghosts in this house, and none of them were good.
Yeah, we have two running theories. Neither are
Okay,
good.
but I get like because she essentially figures out that they are leading me here, but does that mean they also like pulled her into the study because it's like could they have also because I guess her sister is
Well,
also descended from this like lady like
and
I don't know
Oh,
it's
that's
just such a
true.
weird
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a mixed bag
she's not
because
like an orphan you know what I
I
mean
feel like the children want to be freed, but they're like kind of owned or they're like controlled mostly by the crane guy. And so
Yeah.
they can it's kind of like a ghost ship situation. Go watch our deep dive of Ghost Ship where they have a little bit of autonomy to like be able to tell her things and try to lead her somewhere, but Herman Kane or whatever is still like in control of not only the house but them too.
Right.
no
Um
I do get
but
that I'm more
Citizen
like how did
Kane.
she get there
Yeah.
and at first I was kind of like, oh, is that like why her like because she had to take care of her like dying mother? I was like, oh, was the
Yeah.
mother crazy
Well,
because the house is trying to get her there? But that's not really part of it.
Oh.
It's just kind of like,
so we
yeah,
kind of have to like show that Josh wasn't paying attention because then there's a scene where Liam Neeson is like, she's like, "Oh, remember when you called me and we talked about the study and you invited me out?" And Liam Neeson was like, "Eleanor, the first time we talked is when you showed up at the house. I never talked
Yeah.
to you before."
oh,
And they're
okay.
like,
So they faked
"Oh,
the phone
it was the
call.
ghost." Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would have been better if they showed it like they show a flashback and you just see the phone off the hook and then the room has the big eyes and you see the closet like open and it's like, "Hello,
Yeah.
Eleanor."
I am Liam Neeson.
I don't think
No,
I
but
don't think
it's
at this point he can control and have a physical form.
but
He's just a house. So
but
it's
it's
like the
but I thought
garage
it's
door.
the good ghosts leading her there, or is it the bad ghost is trying to kill her?
I don't
'cause it's-
think
I
they
think it
ever
might have been the good
explain.
ghost.
Yeah, I think it was the good ghost.
I get it's just weird
Well,
that she has this whole other life with like a sister and stuff that don't really factor into any.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I'm
there's
saying?
also another question too. Is like if he was murdering all the children and they were all stillborn, how does he even have a descendant? Like what kid made it out to then
Right.
have another family that would then produce Eleanor?
Because his second wife, maybe she had a sister because she's a descendant of the second wife.
she
She's
might
not
be like the
necessarily
Oh, it might have
related
been like
to the second one. And also,
Right.
that would be funny if they were like, "Oh, and then he got remarried and they did have two kids." I was like, "Oh,
Right, yeah.
It was
I
the
think he's
wife's
fine with
problem.
that,
Yeah.
he's just over dramatic." It seems.
Yeah.
It's
He just really went off the rails for a few
just
years.
a bad guy. That
So,
is
yeah.
the idea that you're like, oh, well, I've already built the giant like child statue mansion. I mean, I'm gonna use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Well, I can't not murder children now."
Right.
So then they like
incongruous.
they all meet together and they're like, "We can't get out," and that's when Owen Wilson is like, he desecrates the scary picture of Herman Cain, which Herman Cain should have been like, "Yeah, it's not a good picture of me, to be honest."
Yeah,
guys.
thanks.
Like I don't
Just
look
take it
that
down.
cool. But then, and this is like, okay, this is our first really big like scare of the movie, and it's pretty funny because what happens is Owen Wilson is like, "You see, you can't do anything to us. What is he gonna do, ghosts?" And then there's like a giant thing in the back of the chimney that like opens the chimney by rocking.
It's like a
like
lion
top?
head.
Yeah, it's a flue.
Like
Yeah.
a lion
It's a
head
flue, yeah.
flume.
William, why don't you explain to us what a flue is?
Flume.
It's a
Flume.
large contraption that if you move it one way, it opens the chimney, which is obviously a very grand chimney.
Right.
I don't know how a human would move this big of a flue,
Right.
but
okay.
it's a thing that opens the vent at the top of a chimney
Yes.
versus closing it.
Yeah, it's
And
like
it's
a
actually-
latch, but it's
Yeah.
man-sized. in
It's
this
usually
movie.
Right.
like this big on a regular chimney.
Yes.
Yeah, and you like twist it.
Because
And
this
on this chimney,
chimney's
it's
bigger
like
than the rooms
10
we're all
people
in.
tall.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right,
so
and
then
it must
on-
weigh like hundreds of pounds, if not
Yes.
thousands. Yeah.
And so then Owen Wilson's like in the chimney, is like, what are they gonna do to us? And then the flume comes out, and the head has its mouth open, and it just kind of eats Owen Wilson's head and keeps going. And then Owen
Yeah.
Iconic. It's so
yeah,
iconic.
it's such a,
A
and I will
clean
say,
decapitation.
considering it's PG-13, we see quite a bit of him without a head before
Yeah.
he falls down.
That was like whenever you said at the beginning of the podcast where you thought that he died immediately, I
Yeah.
also thought that too, just because that scene I think it's just burned into every kid's brain
I
who saw
think
that.
so, and I think it's
Yeah.
like because and I will say, watching it again as an adult, Owen Wilson does kind of get annoying because a lot of his jokes don't land. But
Yeah.
as a kid, especially as a kid, where this was the first time I had
You're
ever
like,
seen
oh no,
Owen
the funny
Wilson,
guy. Yeah.
he was so funny in that first movie.
Right.
Like, until you see
Instant
like,
star.
oh, he can actually be funny. Yeah, he has that star quality. So you're
Yeah.
like, oh no, not Owen Wilson.
Dude, his dome.
It's like you should have just let him go off again for another 45 minutes and not be in the movie.
His decapitated head should have just been like spewing off more jokes about the smallness of his room and how hot Catherine Zeta-Jones was.
Yeah. And so that's when Herman Crane, he comes out and he's like, raw, I'm a big monster. And he's 12 feet tall. And this is the most Bluto a ghost has ever looked. Like, to me,
this
Yeah,
isn't
he
great.
looks like
This
a
is the
boss
worst
fight.
CGI. And
Yeah.
yeah, he
This
looks
is-
exactly like a boss. He looks like a Castlevania boss.
This is when she figures
Yeah.
out, she's like, oh, I have to get him near this door. That, like, the
Right.
good ghosts have set up this,
the
like,
door
portal.
that's all full of heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially like he
Oh,
refuses to
right,
see
the
afterlife.
purgatory.
But
There's a door
if I-
that's decorated in purgatory.
If I
Yeah.
get him to this door, because she's been studying the runes, if I get him close enough to it, and she kind of just does it by
Studying the
berating
runes.
his ghost. She's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're a bad guy."
She
Has
has
family.
she has one of the best lines in the whole movie where she goes, "This isn't purgatory anymore. You're going to hell." It's like,
Yeah.
cool. That's a good one.
Also,
It's
it
like
is funny because
Tommy Lee
not
Jones
like,
baiting the alien to eat him in Men in Black.
Yeah,
Eat
it
me.
is very much.
it's not like a ritual or something where it's like, oh, we had to light these candles or like do this. It's literally just like, oh, I guess no one's ever got him to get close, like within
Close
10
to the
feet of the
store.
store before.
Yeah.
You know, just
And
like,
it's also like,
I just had
did,
to annoy him a bit.
Right.
did he not
Easy.
know? Did he not know that not to go? Like, was he just like, hey guys, remember, I can't really go to that door.
Yeah.
So don't try it.
Yeah,
Don't taunt me.
Yeah.
he's like
And-
she's like a bullfighter, basically getting him to charge.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. In like 100 years, he just completely
He hasn't
avoided
ever
this
Oh my
door.
god, dude.
Yeah.
I just realized with you saying bullfighter, at the beginning of the movie, she says adventures are only for soldiers and the women bullfighters who fall in love with them. And she becomes the
Oh.
bullfighter at the end.
Damn.
Oh my
That's called
God, dude.
themes.
That's crazy.
That's good. That's a good.
Yeah,
that's
I
a good
actually
mix.
like
So
that.
yeah,
There we go. There we go.
and so she lures him to the thing, and then he jumps at her. And this is again another baffling choice because he takes her with her, and they're like, Eleanor, no, like Catherine Zeta-Jones. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I got to get at least 3 more Eleanors into my into this scene before I can get paid. She's like, Eleanor, no, and then the monster grabs him, and he goes into the door. And then it's like, oh, the ghost saved her, and she's in the Christ pose because she's stuck at the door.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And they're like,
yeah.
slowly
Literally,
lowering her
yeah.
down. But then, spoiler alert. Well, we've been spoiling the shit out of this movie anyway. Spoiler alert. Then she dies anyway. It's like, wait,
Really? And her ghost
you
goes,
just,
"Ah," like it's the cheesiest
I-
face of all
Yeah.
time, man.
I also
couldn't
thought it's
believe
like she needed a house at the beginning. She's related to
I
this
know,
guy.
like, shouldn't
for
she be
real.
the character?
I
Yeah.
thought that she was gonna
Yeah.
get the house, but now it's gonna go to her terrible sister as
It's
he
like
moves into.
it's like End of
Yeah,
Days where you're
jokes
like,
on
wait,
them.
shouldn't he live at the end? Isn't
Yeah,
that what
like
the
makes
movie's
more
about?
sense
You
if
know?
he
Right.
lived. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she's taken in, and then all the ghosts are free, and they're like, oh, the house is good,
This
and then
is
it.
another like really cool shot though, because it just cuts to the caretaker Bruce Dern is driving back up, and it's
Yeah.
just a shot of like it's a POV of the car approaching the mansion slowly, of like seeing the devastation. But they have like his face in the side view mirror, so you could see his like shocked reaction as he pulls up on it. I was like
Yeah.
another like, oh man, a cool little like end stinger, because the movie just basically ends as they're walking out of the
Yeah,
mansion.
it literally ends
you
with
know?
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones being like,
Just kind of brushing themselves off. They're
Right.
like, oof.
"We're They're like, "Late checkout, sir," and it's
Yeah.
like that's not the tone that you guys have been.
Catherine
doing this
Zeta-Jones
whole
should be like,
movie.
I'm suing your university.
Yeah,
by the
like I'm
way.
suing
Yeah.
every person involved. Also, we forgot to mention this, and I guess now that we've talked about the movie, we can kind of talk about because this scene is also in Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix show. But there's another scene where it shows Eleanor's kind of being possessed by the ghost, and she goes up a set of ladder, like the spiral staircase in the garden,
Right.
and
right.
Liam Neeson's like, "Hey, come on!" Like, cause she's on the edge, and it looks like she's about to jump. And they're like, "Hey, come on, come on!" And like the stairs start falling away behind him, so he can't really go. But then they cut to a wide. They're like maybe 8 feet in the air. Like they're not very high. Like,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
fine.
he drops like a glass, and the glass breaks, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" Like it's that scene where like, look at how high they up they are. And it's like,
Right.
what's glass? You could be like 5 feet
It
high.
could fall
And
off
it's
this
gonna break.
table.
It's
Yeah,
made of
it's a
glass.
hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes cups fall off my kitchen table and they break. Like it's glass. It's not that big.
Into a million pieces.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I just think it's funny because, especially because, like, in The Haunting of Hill House, that scene on the staircase is my favorite scene in the whole series. So it's funny to see it kind of replicated in this. So I wonder if it's in the book, and they're
I
like,
can't
"Let's
remember.
use
It
this
must
scene
be
of
the
her."
They're always kind of doing
Yeah,
it.
but I just think
Yeah.
it's funny that they were both like, you know what? We're not gonna take a lot from this. Like Mike Flanagan was like, I'm not gonna take a lot from this book or this movie, but we're putting in those staircases. Like it's gonna have
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah.
Freaking
Like,
iconic. Yeah. It's just it's actually
And
a
it
throwback
is-
to Liam Neeson.
I do remember like when I originally heard, and I think that one is one of the better Mike Flanagan shows, but I am a little bit confused because it's almost like the show works as a prequel because the main character in that movie is the Kane, and the Kane family is the kids, like, so it's like, and they all slowly die in the house, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like a prequel to the book but taking place in the modern time. But it's such a weird
That's
thing where it's like,
interesting. Yeah.
The Haunting is a cool idea of like you're bringing in this psychologist. You could do, if you really wanted to explore, you could do more of the idea of science versus supernatural or belief or whatever. But Haunting of Hill House is just like, nah, it's not going to be about that. It's going to
Well,
be.
it's not, I mean, I would say like, and I think like to its like credit, The Haunting of Hill House is more because every episode is like, oh, here is what traumatized them as a kid, and then here's them like 30 years later as an adult, like not able to like reconcile it. So it's the whole like generational trauma thing. So it's like barely, I don't know, that the house itself is so kind of secondary to like it, maybe to its detriment in that show. I almost feel like he wanted to use the house as a starting point, because then near the end you're like, do you even know what you're doing with this house? Like, it doesn't end well, that show. Like it very much feels like thematically it falls apart. But it's like you almost kind of see where it's like he's not trying to do the book or this movie. He's trying to be like, what if I like completely turn it on its head? Which some people like. I don't know.
I liked it. I thought it was.
The show was good.
It's like
Yeah.
there's one episode that's probably like my favorite episode out of it, and I do think that
it
the
has a lot of
series
good
kind of
character work.
never goes back to
Definitely,
live
yeah.
up to that potential.
It's also like,
but-
I think it's one of those things
but
where the more
it's good.
Mike Flanagan stuff you see, the more you see him like repeat himself. To where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I
Yeah,
was really
he does, like,
impressed
the
the
same
first
kind of
two
stuff.
times, and then
It's kind
Yeah.
of funny because Mike Flanagan loves Stephen King and vice versa. Like they love each other, but they also have the thing where like half of Stephen King's books are about a washed up writer from Maine. And it's like, yeah, man, I
with
got
alcohol
it.
problems.
And like,
yeah.
yeah, and almost every Mike Flanagan movie is about the main character has some kind of addiction that he's trying to get over. It's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, you guys very clearly have a trope that you love, which doesn't mean it's
Sure.
bad.
Right.
It just
But
means
it's
that it's funny
expected
that,
now. I'm always like, if there's not a meth
yeah.
addict in a Flanagan film, I'm like, what are we doing here?
And it's very funny because like they both have that kind of symptom, and they both like are very big fans of each other's work. And it's like, man, this is like kinetic the way you guys. It's like Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese finding each
Yeah,
other. You know, like,
it's
how does
almost
this
like
work so
they
well?
can't like separate
Yeah.
themselves because yeah,
Right.
because even if you see something like Life of Chuck, the movie he just did, which is not like it's very very different, but you still see the same stuff repeated. You know,
Right.
even when it's like a completely different genre and context and like film. You know, so,
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think it's more the thing where like a lot of filmmakers have similar tropes, but they have the one very specific one that's very easy to spot, and it just makes it kind of funny when you see it. Once you notice it, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. There it is.
But yeah, going back to the hunting, any final thoughts on this movie? Oh, William,
I
why
mean,
did you decide to pick this as the gateway horror?
well, I guess like last year I did haunted house films, and like haunted stuff is like my favorite horror genre. And I think that
mm,
this is really the one that like really sold me on it because like I was in like fourth
Yeah.
grade when this came out, like fourth or fifth grade. So like I'd probably seen like I think The Sixth Sense had just come out, but I wasn't like really allowed to see that, but I was kind of able to see this
Yeah.
one. And so it just kind of like I think it just like sparked like just like my love of like ghosts and stuff like for my whole
Yeah.
life. And like also like the CGI stuff was like really fun as a kid. Like I don't know, and I feel like it was just and you know we've talked a lot about the PG-13 horror thing that kind of sprang up in the late '90s, early 2000s, and I think that was kind of like a gateway horror for like a lot of people that are our age, like millennials and stuff. So yeah, it's
yeah,
like
it makes sense.
it's not a masterpiece, but like I think it was just so big at the
It's a
time
lot
that
of
like this
fun.
The
was
right
Yeah.
place, the
yeah
right place and
It's
time, kind
and
of. Yeah.
yeah it's
I'll
like a
tell you for
Disney ride, but
me,
it's also kind of scary, you know.
I think for me, like I was maybe 10 or 11 when this came out, or maybe a little bit older. But it was to me, this was, and it's funny because it leads into House on Haunted Hill. The remake comes out in October. This comes out in July. And to me, the reason that I love this as a gateway horror is because this was the first movie, even though we weren't 100% 13, like it was back in the
Yeah.
90s, so nobody gave a shit if you walked into PG-13. So we were able to
Yeah.
go with our friends. Like
Right.
I remember very specifically, me and Pablo, who's been on this podcast, went to see it at the mall, and it was the first horror
Right.
movie that we A saw in theaters and B were able to see by ourselves. And then to
Totally.
add on to that, and so that's why to me it's like a good gateway horror. But to add on to that, then because of the confidence of not being scared by this movie, I went to go see House on Haunted Hill, and we saw it at midnight, and we went with our uncle because that movie's very rated R. And as I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, I
Yeah.
was like next to my brother, and I remember my brother very specifically turned to me and he goes, "You know, this isn't like The Haunting. This is like a real scary movie." And like
Right. This is
as the
gonna be
lights
bad.
dimmed, yeah, as the lights dim, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like, "Oh no!" And then I was it. That is a very scary movie, and I was freaked out for quite a while. But I think it's
Right.
very funny that The Haunting, gave me un, unearned confidence to go watch a very scary
Right.
rated R
Right.
You
film.
Right.
know,
So it literally did gateway
It was a
me to a
gateway to
bigger
hell.
horror film. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I had seen, I'd seen horror films, like even R-rated ones, but always on TV, and it's a very different experience when
Totally.
you're
Yeah.
watching it
You're
on
at home.
TV, and
You're
it's like,
comfortable.
yeah, you're in a safe space where a theater,
Yeah.
it's like you're surrounded by the movie. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's very funny. But yeah, any last thoughts on the hunt? I think it's worth watching. I think it's a lot of fun. CGI gets a little bit wonky, but it's interesting to see how this movie kind of develops.
Yeah. Has an interesting backstory, like all the
Yeah.
development and everything.
yeah, and just it's also just like I said, you're seeing so many stars about to hit it big. Bruce Dern
Yeah.
being the chief one among
Bruce
them.
Dern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see this as a kid, Josh? Was this like a major film for you, or
No,
did
no,
you
I'd never
not
seen
really ever
this.
watch it?
Although
You'd never seen it
Stephanie,
before?
my wife had, and she's like, "Oh
Okay.
man, it's like this Owen Wilson stuff's not holding up as much as I remember." It's just
Yeah.
funny that Andrew had the same reaction where you're like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, I just remember him being funny, not that his jokes actually were funny."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because he has that great, I thought, "Why is my room so small?" joke that you think he's gonna bring that to every other scene he's in, but really he just
Yeah,
says Eleanor.
I also just
Yeah. When he's
you
lucky
really
enough to be
do
in the
envision
movie.
it as them being in
Yeah.
it more. Yeah, they really do just kind of, and I think that's almost like the biggest like failing is like they should have been a team the whole time, kind of bouncing off each other.
Right.
You know?
And I think
Yeah.
that would have helped a lot, just because. Also, Virginia Madsen by this point has already starred in The Prophecy, another
Oh my
horror
god.
classic that we covered on this channel. But yeah, I think it is that thing
Sideways.
where you can
Sorry.
see where it goes. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's a good gateway horror. This is, and again, we've gotten a little bit more adult. This is PG-13. Now we're gonna get into horror that are a little bit more. So
Yeah.
come back with us next week as we jump more into gateway horror. And oh wait, maybe not next week. Maybe there's a deep dive coming out next week, either next week or the week after. We'll find out. We'll find out together once we see
Yeah.
what gets copyright claimed. But yeah, so join us Halloween time, and also on Halloween. I don't know if announced this last time, but on Halloween, there's going to be a short on the Hada Films network channel on YouTube. So go check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. And then we'll see you guys next week in one way or another on the Bomb Squad.